This episode is brought to you by Red Riding Hood, the manga-inspired take on the classic fairy tale for readers grades K through 2, written by Christina Oxtra. In Red Riding Hood, readers review the classic story in a brand new way, with twists in the story, more diverse characters, and featuring Japanese aesthetics incorporated throughout. Red Riding Hood is part of a series published by Capstone and written by various artists with unique takes on your childhood favorites. Look out for Red Riding Hood, available on Amazon and your local bookstores. Congratulations, Christine, on your first published book. The link is in the show description.
Here's a real high-class bout. It's on! It's on!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on Boss Rush Games. This is episode 109. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
Also joining us is Colonel Panic himself, Joe Wilson.
Hiya.
Back from a interesting debacle last week.
Oh, it's been like 2 weeks. We had like a huge work thing happen, and then my son's birthday happened, and we were like, since it's like we don't want to like have one grad gathering, we were like traveling to everyone's house so we could get a little bit of time. And then it was like car trouble. It's just a nightmare. It was a small nightmare. He had a blast. It's fine for him.
Small nightmare for us, blast for him.
Oh, to be a child blissfully unaware of what's happening.
Yeah, I'm still Sans car. It's at the shop still, but it's like a brother-in-law type thing. So it's like you keep it as long as the bill's low, and it's we'll all be happy.
That other voice you hear is our Tower Casuals lore archivist himself, Mr. Josh Finney.
Ew, 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks, guys.
I feel like you're going to be showing up a little bit more often here at some point.
At some point, if I could just get through like the next 3 weeks and
if you could just move
back across the state.
If you can just move and not get sick and,
Oh my god.
pack.
No, I'm finally not feeling like trash. This is the first time in like 4 appearances that I feel like I'm at 100%.
Good.
So,
Nice.
Good.
we're good to go.
That's good.
Nice. Got a full crew here. I think Willow's on vacation, he said, so he will return. But it's cool. We got a lot to talk about, guys. We have so much to talk about that
There's a lot.
I'm skipping pre-podcast story time. I'm skipping housekeeping. I'm skipping something else because
What have we been playing?
yeah, that's at the end. I put it at the
Okay.
end. That's if we have time, though, because I know everybody's got a schedule and everything, and I would also like to go to bed at a decent hour because I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning going through 13 totes of old stuff, and I got it down to 6. So, so that was fun. But yeah, guys, we have a lot to talk about. The Series S was finally revealed this week, of course, an hour after our last episode posted. This post. So I feel like we're a little late on this, although we did do a YouTube breakdown. Josh and I and Ed all did a YouTube breakdown, so you can go watch that on our YouTube page. But we're actually going to kind of go really in depth on this today. First of all, Series S was revealed. Thoughts on the box, everybody, before we kind of dig into the meat of this?
This looks like DJ Hero 3. I'm doubling down on my comments.
That's what I thought too. I thought it looks like you could go.
I also really just don't frankly care about how it looks because it's going to go in my entertainment center anyways.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, who cares? Who is scrutinizing the top of the box is what I want.
I mean, I saw it and I was like, oh, that's a design choice. Like, they could have just made it white like the rest of the box. But I'm like, look, if I get a Series S, it's going to be sitting on a shelf in my office to stream from, and I don't even care what it looks like, right? I mean, I think besides the big black disc on top, I think it looks like a nice console. I think it's like really nice looking.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it just basically looks like the 1S, and I think that's why they put that black circle on it. Is they wanted to just make it stand out, and have that trait of the whole top area of the Series X, and just kind of like make it kind of its own thing without making it look too much like stuff that they've already done.
I agree. I think that is something so that when you look at it, you can tell which one it is. But I think also it's to really draw attention to the fact, like, guys, there's a fan in here, and it's really important that you know that this is a fan that needs to vent air. Like, I think
and
that
you don't set stuff on it.
I think that's it's like, you don't want to set it on the circle. I bet there's even tests. It's like it's like they find that the awareness around the fact that the heat's coming from there is a lot higher because it's a black circle. Short of pushing like caution tape around it, I think
it's not like the almost like blending in blades of the VHS Xbox One.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, that console was ugly, but it was vented. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
that may be the most vented console I've ever owned, frankly, in comparison to like the Jimmy John's looking double decker of the PS4.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
which clearly does not vent enough because it used to sound like my apartment was taking flight.
Yeah, by the way, they were showing like size comparisons of these boxes with the other consoles on a bunch of websites, because a bunch of influencers and IGN and all these places got like dummy boxes, and they were showing the X, and like the X it's a lot taller than if you lay it sideways, if you lay it down, it's a lot thicker than I thought it was.
That is the chunky boy.
Yeah.
It's a chunky boy.
I was looking at it, I was like, is that an Xbox One X laying underneath it? I was like, it looks like a slim PS2 compared to this thing.
Man, the Xbox Series X on its side looks like a pound cake. Like, that's all it is. I'm waiting for somebody to just, like, whack me off a piece and serve it, because, holy crap, it may be, like, the most bland thing from the front, but that thing's vented, too.
Yeah, I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, where am I going to put this on my entertainment center? Because it's
going behind my TV.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to for me, but also, like, I don't want my kid grabbing it, so I'm like, it's got to go on go on the right side of my TV, because she can't get back there. It's got to be more towards the middle of the TV than actually, like, kind of right beside it. And then I hope there's not, like, a Switch conundrum where if you put the dock behind the TV, like, your Joy-Cons won't read it, and they'd be like, don't put it behind an aquarium. I'm like, I just...
Who is putting it behind an aquarium so often that had to be a warning?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
but,
so...
like, well, I just wanted to say one more thing too, like that I've absolutely loved about both Xboxes is the like just amazing funny memes that have been going around because of it. Like, I honestly, like, there was some great Oreo head chimed in and like did the whole Oreo on the top of the Xbox, and then like it was just going from there. So then Xbox, in return of Oreo commenting that they took a picture of a Series X, then put a Series S between it, and then another Series X,
oh my
and
God,
then
it's
sent
perfect.
And then someone in the chat said, "Hey, I want double stuff." So then they sent a picture of the X, two S's, and then another X.
Where's my quadruple stuff?
And they just said, "Hey, we get paid to do this," and someone said, "Obviously, you don't get paid enough for this art."
Can we just appreciate for a minute how good the social media response was this week by that team?
Yeah.
Because this stuff was leaking in the middle of the night, and like within an hour or two, they're firing back with stuff like oh, well, I guess this is happening.
Yeah, I woke
Outside of one mini meltdown from a senior designer with them, everybody else like just kind of took it in stride and was just like, all right, it happened, whatever, here we go. Like, we were going to do this all next week, we'll just do it now. Forget it. Here's all the details. Like,
yeah,
that's just a masterstroke in crisis PR.
I woke up at 5:30 for work that morning, and I was just kind of laying there, scrolling through my phone. I'm like, oh, Xbox announced the price for this box, I guess, in the middle of the night, and then because I didn't see the leaks or anything, because I kind of went to bed a little bit early, but like I was like, okay, this happened overnight. It literally came out as a tweet, like somebody predicted. And I'm like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, and then the people, like, I was trying to find it. I think he might have actually deleted his tweet, but like the other day, I want to say it was like Friday. Like it must have been like, hey, there's not enough like bad PR being thrown around about Xbox here, or like everything's looking good, so let me chime in and try to wreck this fun that everyone's having. But the guys who made the Trover's was it the Trover
the
Saves
VR
the
game
World or whatever,
the VR game,
yeah, the dev from that said, hey, why can we finally talk about the Series S? And like he went on this rant that was like 5 or like 6 or 7 tweets long of how it's going to be the worst thing ever, and he was claiming that it was going to hold back the PS5, and he was claiming that it, like all this stuff, and people are just like, oh well, do you have a dev kit for it? And he's like, and eventually he admitted that no, he hasn't used any dev kits or anything. And they're like, well then how do you know what it's not capable of doing?
Yeah.
Like, like I don't know a lot about computers or anything, but like in my opinion, like I look at this like similar to like we just had those new graphics cards released, right? So if you buy the lower end one, there's certain things that one isn't going to do that the higher one can. But I feel like both of those will be able to run the same games. It's just one won't be able to run it at, as amazing of things as the other one can. And like to me, like that's how I look at these two Xboxes, is the one will be able to play the same games. It just won't be able to play them at like mid to high range, settings. Whereas this one's kind of playing it on a lower, like a lower, and the other one's actually doing true 4K.
Yeah, that was something that I think a developer from Remedy was saying that earlier this week. Like he also started off a little bit negative as well, and was like, I do have some slight concerns about this maybe holding us back in a few years, but definitely not right away. And he says the dev kits do scale. There is a Lockhart mode on them now, like Series S mode technically. And he says this is no different than us using sliders to make it work on make a game work on lower end PC specs. He's like, that's why we publish minimum specs. He says this is no different. This is the low end. Like you're not getting the true 4K. He's like, as a consumer, this is an incredible move, which I think we can all agree on. And obviously none of the four of us are in game dev, so we can't really say like, is this going to hold anything back? Like in 3-4 years, I do think it's going to. Like, I'm not even going to front it. I think that this is something that'll only be available for maybe the first half of the generation and then go away, unless there is some revolutionary leap forward made with Game Pass where it can just stream the full version of these games to you, or like
xCloud.
xCloud. Hold the maybe an attachment you can put on the back, like the rumored Series V that we've heard about, which is rumored to be just an xCloud thumbstick. Plug that into the back, and like, that can hold the assets that can't load in for a game like, for example, Microsoft Flight Sim, how intensive that game is. Like, hold all your extra assets in the cloud and just load them as needed for these huge worlds. But for right now, like, you can't beat that price. Like, people are going to see that $299, and that was the most critical thing to hit. They're going to see $299. Parents are going to see that. The X may be a little bit slow getting off the ground, but this thing is going to sell gangbusters right out. Yeah,
I think that with all access is like so great for so many people. I looked, because like whenever they made these announcements, I was like, how much is a 4K Blu-ray player, like a 4K player anymore? And they're still $300.
Yeah,
like they're still crazy expensive. And when you look at all access, and I was even talking to my wife about this, and she was like, this is great for kids with like, or families with kids and stuff like that. Like there's like, she's like, there so many people are probably going to buy that, because then you don't have to worry about You don't have to worry about buying games. You don't have to worry about buying the online subscription at that point. You already have the console. So, like, in reality, you can buy All Access and maybe another controller if you have more than one person that needs to play. And then that's all you need. Everything else is there.
And that's saying you don't have old controllers for an Xbox already.
Another great,
you know, like.
Right. I was making this point on our reactions with Ed earlier in the week that I think this console is going to particularly do gangbusters with the 10 to 14-year-olds who want to play Minecraft, they want to play Fortnite, they want to play Apex, they want to play those games that their friends are playing, all these free-to-play games. Like, even with the addition of EA Play to Game Pass, they want to play Madden, they want to play FIFA. Like, this is huge. You can literally buy this and not to spend anything on microtransactions. My dad even was asking me about this earlier in the week. He's like, "Hey, do you think your sister would like one of these?" I'm like, "You just got her a 1S last year. Like, why does she need the new one?" "Well, you know, we want to get her the newest thing." Like, all right, well, get her the cheap one then. She plays Fortnite. Like, she plays so much Fortnite with her friends. She plays Sea of Thieves. She plays Minecraft. All these things. Like, you do that and then just give them all gift cards for microtransactions. Like, this is incredible. Like, ultimately, I think developers are going to see a lot more revenue come in because you're getting all this for such a cheap price. Why not contribute and buy more stuff in game? Like, that's how I act with Game Pass games, at least.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Switch. You know, like I look at it like the Switch, where the people like us are gonna probably want the Series X. But the people that like are either gonna want it for kids or people that want it as their second console, they're gonna buy that one, and so then that way they can be on both, which is what Xbox has been wanting. They don't care about like they're not trying to steal everyone away from someone else. They just want you in their stuff, whether you play other consoles or not. They don't care as long as you're spending time there too. That's all they care about.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything everybody said. Like I said, I would like to have a S to stream from in my office, so I don't have to keep moving the box around. Because I mean, not that the living room's that far, but I'm sure that box is not going to be light. We're gonna have to be on a LeBron level workout plan to be moving that box around all the time. So, I think that any way you spin any of this, imagine a world where Halo was launching with this too.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
God, dude! In a world where Halo launches with this may arguably be one of the best console launches of all time. Frankly,
yes,
it would have been. I honestly think it would have been. It's really a shame that there's not. I don't think they have like a launching killer app with it. I mean,
so I'm gonna let you finish your thought, but afterwards, I've got some stuff to say on that.
No, I mean, I was just gonna say that like I am at this point most excited about playing Cyberpunk and Destiny. Like it just with the visuals, I'm most excited about playing Cyberpunk because it's a new game clearly. But like, the first thing I probably will pop in and load is Destiny in that machine. But it sucks that there's not like the killer app for it. I think All Access is probably the killer app for it in reality. But anyway, go ahead, Josh.
So I definitely agree with you that I don't think they have one specific game that's a killer app. But if you look at most typical console launches, there is not a killer app. Like, once in a while you strike gold with a Super Mario 64 or a Halo, but like, does anybody want to go back and play Knack and Killzone Shadowfall?
I do.
Does anyone want to go back and play? Oh God, what was it? Does anyone want to go play Perfect Dark Zero?
Perfect Dark Zero was awesome.
Crazy.
Like,
you are literally going through every game that I've purchased at a launch.
Yeah, and I mean, so here's the thing. Like, and again, another argument that I was making that I want to go into a little bit more detail on is I don't think that you have to have this killer game at launch because the people who buy it day one were already going to buy it. A launch title is not going to persuade people into buying your console. Like, everybody who's going to buy a PS5 this year was already planning to buy one regardless of Miles Morales came or not. That's just the cherry on top that may get some more families and their kids to beg for it, which is awesome. cool. That is a once in a generation thing that's going to happen, is being able to launch with arguably your most important IP. Like, it would have been cool to have seen Halo launch with Xbox, but I think leaning into your third-party partnerships and the fact that you're not just making your games backwards compatible, you're actually making them significantly better are two huge points. You have the partnership with EA. You've got the marketing deals with, get this, 5 different third-party games coming out within 3 weeks with Watch Dogs Legion, Destiny Beyond Light, which is, I think, way more important than any of us are prepared to give it credit for, ironically.
Yeah.
Yakuza, which doesn't appeal, I don't know, to any of us, but to a certain set of gamers it does. And then you got the 1-2 punch of Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk, one right after another. That's a crazy amount of partnerships, and they're like every single one of the trailers is pushing this Xbox, this is Xbox, and in real tiny print, oh, it's coming to PS5. Like, this is all Xbox now, baby. Like, you could still have a good launch based on third-party titles. I mean, the 360, when it launched, its 2 biggest games were Condemned and Call of Duty 2. Yeah. Like, those are the only 2 games I'm ever going back to year 1 of that console and playing again.
Plus, like a lot of people kind of are sleeping on Gears Tactics is getting its console launch this fall, which I know it's not like a huge thing, but I mean, I know a lot of people have waited for it on console, even though it's been out on PC for a while.
I think that really kind of ties into what Colonel was saying is, like, if we had Halo, that would have been the perfect central piece to all of this. Like, imagine having these deals and Halo hitting. Like, you have the supplemental title in Gears Tactics, and I still strongly think Flight Sim and Age of Empires are coming in launch month. Like, you have those 4 launching. That's a pretty great slate to launch with.
And if you and all those are going to be on Game Pass, and it's like, oh, you don't have to pay $240 for these games. You can pay $15 or $10, and you get it all.
They're clearly pushing a lot of their indies this fall with the deals for 12 minutes, with the Ascent, Call of the Sea, the Medium. Like, you can still have a really solid launch, I think. But, and of course, it's not going to be a Halo level, but I think not saying that this is what any of us were trying to say, but I think the narrative of, oh my god, it's going to have such a bad launch is so ridiculously overblown right now. Like, most consoles typically have a really bad launch, let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, so now
the PS2 launched without a Sony game and was the most successful console ever made.
Yeah, well, so, like, if I remember correct, isn't there going to be extra stuff added to Gears 5 on launch? Weren't they adding stuff to Gears 5?
There's a rumor that campaign DLC is coming at some point.
Yeah.
But we talked about that when did we talk about that last week?
Well, yeah, because I was gonna say I didn't know if that was like for sure thing or not. But let's say that does happen. Okay, well that's technically as new as what Miles Morales is gonna be. It's just Miles Morales is just an addition to a game that already exists.
It's an addition, but man, I know, but I mean, isolated circumstance too.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that, like, I feel like, you know, because, like, I think technically you have to own Spider-Man to even get, or is Miles Morales is a standalone thing.
Standalone.
It is.
It's basically the Uncharted Lost Legacy to Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
like, it's basically ODST
they
to
probably took the map of New York City and simply made a new story in it.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's what I thought, but I don't, like, people still are. I don't know if it's just the way they're wording it, but people keep on making it sound like it's just an addition to a game that exists already. But either way, it's like, I mean, you know, like you said, there's just so much stuff, and, like, you know, like, having Game Pass alone, there's so many games that I don't have enough time to play. Like, you know, like, for someone like me who does not have the kind of time to play every single game that I want to when it comes out, like, there will never be a drought of games for me. It just isn't possible. So, like, you know, like, to be able to play games that I haven't gotten to, but play them at better resolution or better, rates or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. There's always gonna be so much stuff to play, and so for the most part, I just ignore. I've gotten sick of so many people, I've been a fan of Xbox this whole generation, and that's all I've heard is that there's nothing to play. But yet here I am with not enough time to play everything that I want to.
So it's funny that previously, and I would say in another life, a previous life for me, I was a habitual 100%er. I would say probably the Nintendo 64 era, if I'm being brutally honest. Banjo-Kazooie, I would be find all the Jinjos, find all the puzzle. I would look for everything and do everything. Since then, and more so since getting married and having a real job that I have to pay for things with and things like that. I don't have time, and I'm someone that will buy a game and play probably 25 to 30% of it and then not finish it. And one thing that I haven't been focusing on, but looking at the list of games that are being enhanced or better frame rate and resolution, this is kind of a great opportunity to go through and finish all the things that I haven't played, revisit the world. The Witcher, I think I've played some of the DLC on my PlayStation, and I've played some of the DLC on my Xbox, but I haven't ever actually, I don't think, finished everything, which most people probably haven't. But it would be great to go back to that world with some ray tracing and just revisit it and maybe do a couple more missions, maybe do more of it. I would say the same with Borderlands 3. I think I got 75% through that game, and I didn't do the last 25%. So I think Destiny had something come out. And I would say
Shadowkeep came out 2 weeks after Borderlands 3.
That's exactly why.
Destiny ruins all the fall games.
But look at it's now the only thing competing for my time with Destiny is Cyberpunk, and I don't know who's going to win that battle.
Spoiler alert for me, it's Cyberpunk.
It's probably Cyberpunk.
I'm playing as much Destiny as possible in a 10-day span.
So I don't think you're even going to need 10 days if it's anything like all the other stuff.
I want to raid really quickly.
I'm down.
Raiding quickly is not something you hear when the raid drops. I want to raid quickly.
I will say right now, Josh, I did day one raid, tried to get through it, and it was probably the most fun I've ever had playing Destiny. As frustrating and as grueling as it was, trying to I think it was 10 hours that I played.
Oh yeah,
really trying to get through it.
It's brutal if you do it opening week. It's opening day or opening weekend.
But I would be willing to do it if we have a party and they're readily available. That's probably a topic for a different podcast. But
what podcast would that be?
Tower Casuals.
Tower Casuals.
Thursday nights goes live on Friday nights.
But I would love. I love the fact that now since Halo's not there, I have time to actually play Cyberpunk. I'll have that holiday season. And spoiler for anyone that hasn't looked at their calendar, all the holidays fall right pushed against a weekend. So I think a lot of people, as long as you don't have to work a retail schedule, which I don't know what everyone's schedules look like anymore, but there's a good chance you're going to get a nice 3 or 4 day holiday for I think every holiday for the rest of the year. So I'm looking forward to having some time to sit down and actually play games and not feel the pressure of being I gotta play through it. Because I think once Halo drops, I think that's probably a good sit through it for a month. I think there's going to be a lot there.
So I like that you brought up games that are getting the upgrades. So we heard a lot about the third-party games that are going to get it in the last week with Siege, Borderlands, Witcher 3. All of Ubisoft's entire slate is going to be up-resed to work better on Series X. I'm actually really excited for the Microsoft games, and in anticipation, I bought all the Forza Horizon 4 DLC on the Ultimate Sale 2 weeks ago. I never picked up Fortune Island and the Lego pack. It's just okay, this is the perfect time for me to jump back into this game. I think it was both DLCs, the VIP pass, and 4 car packs was maybe $18 on sale with the Game Pass discount. So, like, I'm totally ready to jump back into that. I've been out of Sea of Thieves for about 7 or 8 months, ready to get back into that. Like, the lack of first-party launch titles is actually great for people like me, because I'm going to jump back into these massive multiplayer games I haven't had time to play this year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't played Sea of Thieves since, like, it was in the early access. Like, I think maybe a couple weeks after that I played it a couple times. But I really need to get in there again.
It is one of the most remarkable turnarounds. I would say it's probably the second best turnaround I've seen all gen behind the Destiny franchise. It's incredible how much Rare really just hunkered down and worked on that game. And just every month, like that and Forza and even Gears, like those have had consistent free updates in addition to paid DLC and microtransactions. Like, this is how you support a game long term when you say this isn't just a game, this is a platform for us.
I think the award for best turnaround has to go to No Man's Sky.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that too.
Hands down, I played that game at launch, and I think I turned it off after maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I went back to it after after one of the major updates. And then I spent probably 4 weeks just straight playing it every chance that I had, just being like, this is insane how much they added. I think people always get down on games for not being finished at launch, or not be it's I just want to buy a game and be able to put it in and not have to do an update. But think about I get that a game shouldn't shit broken. I think that's an unfortunate thing that this type of industry has had enabled to it, is that it doesn't have to be quite finished in a lot of ways, or it's we can put this much out and then we can fix these 5 things we know that we've kind of already have close by the time people are ready to turn it on. But look at all the other stuff you get. This would not have happened even in realistically the 360 era. You would not be getting The Witcher 3 that's getting ray tracing. It wouldn't happen.
No.
And I think it's great. I think it's great. I'm really excited about all those enhancements. Have you ever played any of the original Xbox games? That have been enhanced?
Yeah.
It's crazy. They look fantastic.
Yeah, Blackrun's great now.
Yeah, Psychonauts looks like a late gen 360 game.
Yes, they reflections and in general, you get a cutscene and it looks like garbage, and then it cuts to the game. It's this looks way better because the cutscenes are all pre-rendered.
Yeah. I mean, those original, I even popped in KOTOR, and granted, it's still running in 4x3 and it's chopped off everywhere. But what's on the screen looks oh man, this looks great. This I would sit and play this again.
It's
it just
playable.
looks like you're playing a 3DS game and on a bigger screen. Honestly,
I'm looking in Josh's glasses to see if he's eBaying.
I am not eBaying. I promise you, I'm not eBaying.
Man. So
for anyone who does not, for everybody listening, I was eBaying a controller before we went live, and I kept checking my bid every few seconds. I am not eBaying. It is closed out. Those are all Xbox tabs open in Chrome right now.
Was it that Gears one?
Yeah.
Let me go and outbid you real quick.
All right, so they did share the specs for the Series S and the Series X. Very comparable. I know we kind of already touched on them, but basically, is anyone here a tech guy? What's really the big difference here?
To me,
GPU.
It's definitely that.
I think that's the only real difference is the GPU.
Yeah,
the hard drive size.
We kind of knew this from the specs that were leaked out from a tech presentation back at the end of July, beginning of August, that The Verge went ahead and published. And not in a bad way or anything, but nobody could be quite sure what the final resolution of the box was. So it was widely assumed. I mean, I'm guilty of this too. I was like, it's going to be 1080p. There's no way it's going to go to 1440. 1440 was the dream, but seeing a box that can output at 2K and still be $300 with upscaling to 4K is just incredible. Most people don't have 4K TVs as it is. So for especially the beginning of the generation right now, it's lowering the entry barrier for that tech. You're not having to spend $500 plus.
Yeah.
It's just it's an insane amount of power for that much money.
So there's so many implications where I can see the Series S being the preferred console. I would say streamers, because it's a lot easier to stream 1440 through a capture card than it is 4K, anything higher frame rates. I think like people like myself that have so I have now a 5-year-old that is playing video games, and I really wish I could share my Xbox library with him, but we have a PlayStation in like the living room and we have the Xbox down where I play. And like it's not beyond me to have both a Series X and a Series S upstairs so that we can share all the games that I have and start to play together.
Yeah, that's what my girlfriend and I do. She plays on my Halo 5 Xbox, and I play on the One S.
I think there's so many ways that will be the preferred console to a lot of people. Even like budget aside, like straight up, like this is like the better console choice for a person.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like it's just GPU and hard drive size. The hard drive size is a little.
Yeah,
that's a tough one to swallow because you need to buy that special memory card now.
Yeah, which we don't know how much it costs yet.
And I keep on bringing this up, and I brought this up on Twitter. That I think what they really need to do is have it, because we haven't got any confirmation of this being a thing. As far as we know, xCloud, like the xCloud access, is only available on computer, phones, tablets, like that kind of thing. But I think what they really need to do with the way things are working this generation is they need to use xCloud and have access to it on the console. So if you want to play a game that's on Game Pass, instead of downloading it to your hard drive to save space, you can just click on it and play it, stream it. Because most people, at least for me, I hardwire my Xbox just because I play multiplayer a lot, and I don't trust Wi-Fi when it comes to doing stuff like online playing and streaming and things like that. So for me, like having it hardwired, I would be able to stream a game and play it as if I'm playing it right off of my hard drive anyways. So like I would love to have that option to just click on it. Like when you click on a game in Game Pass, it just say play or download. Just like Netflix, play or download. Like you can either just stream it here or you can download it so you can play it later, kind of thing. And I think that's what they need to do is they just need to make it that way and have it all kind of blended in, considering Game Pass, and all that stuff is going to have, the xCloud and all that added to it anyways. Like I just think they need to just do that, and because if you don't have Game Pass, like it shouldn't matter. Like and they could even probably have it where just like Game Pass, if you're just paying for regular Game Pass, the only way you can access the Game Pass games or whatever that's available is through your Xbox. But if you want to play it on your phone or your tablet or your PC, then you've got to have Ultimate to use xCloud.
We don't have to go too far down a tangent, but just to argue a business side of that, let's say that Game Pass is capable of doing that at like the close to launch, because I think part of it is that it's not quite ready.
Yeah,
it's like for prime time.
Yeah,
but if you can do that because you can do it through a phone, and I was in the beta, so I can confirm that it does work.
Yeah.
Is it really worth paying $300 for an Xbox if I could just plug my phone into my TV and stream from my phone, or like get like a cheap PC? I feel like it's almost it's like a disadvantage, or even that aside, like it's almost misleading people if you kind of sell it as that when there's a cheaper option available for them. And if that's also the case, then like I think a lot of people are really going to say, I want that on my Xbox One X, I want that on my Xbox One S, that they want access to these games that they can't play necessarily on that console, that other people are buying consoles for or whatever. So I feel like part of that gets tricky because then you have to like how far back do you support, because it doesn't take a whole lot of processing power, it's more bandwidth. And then at what case, like, can I then play a game on my Xbox Series S but like have it look like the X? Like, if there's any graphic enhancements, can I just play that version, since like technically my Xbox is not actually doing the processing of the game? I don't know. I feel like there's a whole. I have a bunch of questions if I've ever gotten in a room with somebody.
Yeah, I think that the specifics around xCloud and how it's going to work with, in particular, the Series S, is going to be something that kind of unravels over the next 12 to 18 months, really.
Yes.
I think that, because you got to have something to keep that box selling. People are going to realize, okay, there is actually kind of a decent sized power discrepancy. Like, for example, the RAM is not there. Like, it is actually lower RAM than the Series X. It's not on par with that. And in development cycles, that is the one thing I've seen some devs kind of share a little bit of concern about, like we touched on earlier. Like, we're kind of worried a couple years down the line, like, that amount of RAM is already standard in a lot of PCs. Like, we're already developing for that, especially with the consoles having it. Like, we don't know if necessarily scaling that down is going to work. We don't know how that's going to look in a few years. I think that's when xCloud comes into play, and Microsoft is like, wait, there's still reasons to get this, because now that broadband internet and fiber is a lot more accessible throughout the country, let's be honest, Microsoft focuses on North America and on Western Europe. It's gonna be like, oh, hey, this is great now. We have xCloud rolling out in new capacities with the Azure servers and things like that. Like, I really think that's going to be kind of their second life for that console. Is the minute you start seeing the sales decline a little bit, once everyone kind of catches on, they're gonna be, nope, it's still a viable option, and here's a price cut for you on top of that.
Yeah.
If not just a full-on digital Series X at that point. So it's all time to business, but this is something that, like, Microsoft didn't just wake up one morning and go, oh, we're going to do Project xCloud. We were hearing the rumors about this back in 2015 for the first time at Gamescom. Because I remember that's when they first demoed Crackdown 3 behind closed doors with cloud tech. And so, like, this is something I've been following most of the generation. That a friend of the show, Ray Apollo, and I have been following, and we've been, like, preaching from the mountaintops for years about it. Like, guys, this is... Nobody understands, and I still don't think that probably 90% of us have really grasped right now just how much the cloud research Microsoft did is going to affect this generation going forward. They are, when it comes to that, sure, Sony is definitely ahead in the exclusives department, but Microsoft is like took the baton and sprinted out of the stadium when it comes to cloud computing, I feel. And when it comes to future facing.
Yeah, all you got to do is look at what's happening on Flight Simulator right now. That is like it's like it's next gen PC, it's next gen console. It's like that game right now is like the one game that we can point to and say that's next gen. Like that is what next gen can do.
When that comes to console, it's going to have. I mean, it uses cloud computing as it is right now to load in the map as you're flying over places. That is going to be the true test of the power of xCloud when it comes to using your console as a server, I think. And again, like, I really like with this box able to eventually scale up to the Series X. That is eventually going to support 8K. They say, of course, that could be all marketing speak for all we know. 8K is not even going to be in wide use by the end of this generation. I think that's going to be the true test, is using that box. Like, there's a reason it looks like a PC. There's a reason why it looks like a tower with the specs in it. That's a mid-range PC right now, easily that's a mid-range PC. This is going to be a home server for you. The One X was the test bed for it. This is it just taking off. And I think the Series S will be able to do that too, to a smaller extent.
Also, think about like a great first-party lineups. First off, they've done a really good job about buying studios that are like in a good spot. But all that aside, like, how long before you look at something like Flight Simulator is great, but it's more of a, I don't want to say a nerd showcase.
It's a very niche title.
Correct. I would say it's one of those things where it has great business applications, because there is a whole, like, I mean, just the airline industry like is going to be using that. But like also like how like people that have a high enough PC that can run it, like there's there's a lot going on there. But think about how quickly someone can piece together something, be like, hey, you can tell that story that you've wanted to tell that no studio can touch because of the amount of power that it would take to run it. Let's offload some of that, and then you can run it on our stuff. Like, I think that alone will attract people that want to tell their story. They want to put their game on Xbox because of things like that. So they've positioned themselves really well. I agree that I don't think they've made the best decisions overall, but I would say the past 5 years with Xbox have been like just moving in the right direction. And I think
to me, they made a conscious decision, not to cut you off.
No,
I think they made a really conscious decision, like you said, about 4 or 5 years ago, to focus on the future. I think they sat down and took stock of things. For me, they started doing it in 2015 with the xCloud stuff, but I think they really looked at the scope of things after Gears 4 came out and went, okay, we're not winning this generation. Like, yes. Horizon is coming out in a few months. It looks awesome. They've got God of War coming. They've got Spider-Man on the way. Like, they've got whatever Kojima's next game is. We know they're making The Last of Us. We're not going to win an exclusives war this generation. Let's start dumping our resources in. Let's start looking at studios to acquire. Let's start building our tech out. I truly think that fall was probably the genesis of Game Pass. Like, the amount of forward-facing moves, not just on the tech side, but on the consumer side, like trying to make it the most consumer-friendly place. Like, they're really trying to position it as play anywhere, however you want, whatever you want, and how you want. Like, that is about as consumer-friendly as you can possibly get. If you get a killer lineup, not even just of like console exclusives, like if you get a killer lineup of games that can be played across mobile, console, and PC, that's an unbeatable combination. They're pushing this so hard in Asia right now because Xbox has never had a foothold there. But because Samsung is so big over there, they're partnering with it in South Korea specifically. There's just ad after ad on TV right now, really pushing this. I think you're about to see a huge explosion in terms of xCloud and how people use that for multiplayer applications.
Wasn't there a rumor too that they were partnering with Sega to distribute the box over there? I mean, I know that's probably not happening, but like that was a rumor.
Yeah, that was a rumor that we were hearing back before the July showcase. But to me, I didn't see it from anybody credible. Like anybody credible who would know about Xbox was like, yeah, this isn't happening. It is worth noting that they do have a TGS hour-long showcase, which they're adamant has no Series X announcements, but Flight Sim is one of the featured games during that. So,
and wouldn't Yakuza be part of that, which is only getting enhancements on Series X?
Yakuza's kind of a weird situation because it's actually been out in Japan since January on the PS4.
Yeah, but they could be like, hey, if you want to play the enhanced version.
Yeah, the better looking.
I really I think they've just given up on winning Asia at this point. I think that's largely for, hey, these are like more Japanese studios that we want to highlight. Like they do have the deal for Scarlet Nexus. They've got the one for Yakuza. I wouldn't rule out seeing Medium. Like things like that will still appeal over there, but it is what it is. Like Phil's just trying to get it on as many stages as possible, unless he gets his long desired Japanese studio, which I do not think is happening.
I don't think it will either.
Scale
they do have a base in Asia somewhere like that they just built within the last couple of years. So I think it is possible we could see something like that. I just don't think it's going to be like this early on. I think in maybe a couple of years down the road we could see it. But
I think the problem with Japan too, specifically, like not to get too much off on this tangent, is that they focus so much on handheld gaming. That's why the Switch has been such a runaway success. Like even PS4, like it sold well, but not like US or Europe well. Like probably not even Australia well. Like it just is what it is at that point. I think Microsoft though sees an opening now with, hey, we might be able to capture some of that mobile market because you can play this on your phone. Like imagine having a AAA experience on your phone and just needing to pick up a controller. Like that's if I only played mobile games or only played handheld stuff like the Switch and 3DS and the Vita, like that would be super appealing to me. That's what I always dreamed the Vita would be, as a machine to play AAA experiences. And, well, We all
Yeah.
know how that went. It became
We're-
my luminous machine.
We're all finally getting to play Halo on a handheld.
Yeah.
Like they promised us years and years ago that they.
Yeah, remember that fan
when they were
made-
working on a handheld?
Or were they? Yeah, the
Well,
X
they were
Boy or
talking
something. I
about
think it was called.
Yeah.
And then they somebody prototyped a DS version of Halo.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought you were talking about.
No, I was talking about like when Xbox had kind of mentioned that like they had officially said that they were hoping to make a handheld where you could play like, regular, the regular OG Xbox games on a handheld.
I remember
But then
looking
they just
at
kind of threw that away.
yeah, I remember looking at all the internet mock-ups of like what they could look like and everything like
Yeah.
that. It was
I've never been happier that something did not happen.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely made a good choice in waiting until what we're getting right now, because this is 1,000 times better
Yeah.
to just be able to play it on any.
This is the
not
thing of the
having to-
future.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
Like, I may not be running out to play something on my, first off, I have an iPhone, so I can't. But I'm not running out to play something on my phone. I did play some Master Chief Collection when the beta was available on my phone, and was like, okay, this runs good. I played it on the iPad, though, and I was like, okay, if I could get Destiny on this, like, a 9-inch screen, I would I don't know if I'd, do a raid or, a Nightfall or something super intensive, but I would absolutely log in on vacation and do my weeklies or do some Iron Banner or something.
Go to Xur, do so
Yeah.
I absolutely remember doing the was it with the Vita? I don't remember what Sony branded it as, but it would turn my PlayStation on and stream the screen to my
remote
Vita.
play.
Vita.
Yeah, Vita with remote play, yeah.
So I did that with Destiny 1 just to go and collect materials and do the bounty board. I would do that on my lunch break at work, and it was awful. And I still did it every day because I needed to collect resources and just stupid stuff.
I bought Soros Regime while I was pooping from Xur.
I'll never forget the frenzy of Gallarhorn weekend and remembering all the people being like, "Oh my god, I'm out of town," and just gigantic threads on.
Oh my
Reddit
god, here's my login.
of the moderators and a bunch of employees be like, "Here, we'll remote log in and get it for you or something." As long as you have the strange coins, and me having to do that for a few of my buddies on Xbox.
God, remember
and
Strange Coins? Ugh.
Man,
Yes.
dude, just I imagine the horror scenarios of things like that. Of oh my god, I lived in fear for so long, around Forsaken and around Vanilla D2 coming out, even into Shadowkeep, and being oh my god, what if Xur sells something and I'm not around? Crimson Doubles happened this year when we were supposed to go on vacation, so I crammed a whole week's worth of Crimson Doubles matches into 6 hours before we left for the airport, and just so I could get all my stupid rewards. And as we're getting ready to walk out, I'm like, no, I have to finish one final match. And I got the stupid ornament I needed for Wardcliff that I still have not equipped. And it was beautiful, but I imagine being able to do something like that now, on my flight or when I get to the hotel. Just being able to log in and do something simple like that, that's the best application for me. But also, I like a lot of indie games. Ori and the Blind Forest plays a freaking gem on the Switch. Let me do that on my iPad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bring it on. That is the future of cloud gaming for me.
Yeah. Man, I really hope they get this Apple stuff figured out, because
So Apple just doubled down. Did you see what they just the updated terms?
yeah.
They basically want you to use the xCloud app as a go-between and download every single game individually, which is seriously stupid.
So I'm very familiar with Apple's ecosystem. Let's say that,
Mhm.
and it really breaks my heart to know that they're motivated for the right reasons. What they're doing is absolutely in their heads this is the right choice for the ecosystem, and I get that. But no, I shit you not that today I'm been waiting to get a new phone. I went swimming with mine and it still works, but it's a little weird.
You didn't cook it in rice or whatever they tell you to do? Wrap it in a warm towel?
I know how these things work. So that just has then you just get rice in with your phone. Like it doesn't do a whole lot.
Well, there's only one hole in and out of this thing, so
Impossible.
Also, like,
MySpace slide to me.
It's 30 minutes that mine can stay underwater, and I can tell you that it was I like full on went swimming with it in my pocket, like in like a pool, like just went swimming. So I've been waiting for the new phones to come out and just being like, I'm just going to get whatever the newest one is because I'm so close. But today I told my wife, I was like, I'm thinking I might not get an iPhone. Like, and like, there's a chance they might figure that out. That would be such a painful thing for me to remove myself out of that ecosystem because I'm so embedded in it.
Yeah.
But it's like crap like that just like, if I want to play a game, like, let me play the game. Like, figure out a way to make it work with a whole audience of people that want to use your product.
Even if you have to pay for the app, like I don't care. Like, I would pay
figure it out.
Yeah, like even if Apple says, "Hey, on iPhones you have to pay for the app so we can get our cut of whatever," and whatever Microsoft does after that, that's fine. But like, and Microsoft can come out and say, "Hey, this wasn't up to us." Apple says that to do it the way we want to do it, you have to buy the app on the App Store. I would buy that app.
I would buy it.
I think most
pay
people would buy
$10 for
the
it.
app. The problem is, I think Apple is wanting you to not only have to download their specific version of the apps, but I think they are wanting you to also pay for the games because they will have to be individually listed. And Microsoft is like, hell no, we're not doing that. That is insanely anti-consumer. I think Apple was really hoping to catch a break here because Microsoft is backing Epic in its court case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think they're just like, no, like, we're not going to do this. Like, Google obviously isn't going to accept this for Stadia either. So
yeah.
Although the Stadia app exists on the phone, you just can't use it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. No, like, I mean, I have a Game Pass app on my phone and I can't use it. I can just set stuff to download.
Yeah.
So you guys, so you all have Apple. Any of you have like Hulu or anything?
Yeah,
Hulu
Netflix.
on your
I have
phone?
Netflix, Hulu,
Yes.
Disney Plus,
Okay.
and yeah.
Okay, so this is what I was trying to find out how this is any different. Now, if you, let's say you log into Hulu and you decide you want to buy the Cinemax add-on pack, where then now you can watch content for Cinemax. Now, if you do that, does it make you pay for that in the Apple Store? Or do you pay
You have
for
to go
it
on the
through
website. Here's the thing for Amazon, right? Like, if you want to have any add-on content through your Amazon Prime, right?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
for like the Prime Video stuff, you have to go to their website through the browser to get it. You cannot buy it through the app.
Oh,
So-
okay. Because see, I think on mine I can just go right through my
I
on
think
the Samsung.
they've changed that, I think, recently.
Have they?
But so this is crazy. So it's I don't think it's about it. It is about the money, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's the real
That's not like the
issue
first
here.
reason.
correct. So, but
It's because they have a game thing that they.
but I'm gonna come full circle here because I think you have a point. Like, I think there's a good thing in there that I don't have an explanation for. So part of it is, like, I think with Fortnite specifically, it's the money thing. But there's also a thing in there that says that if you have your product available on other ecosystems, you are allowed to provide a direct payment option that does not go through the App Store thing. But I think they still take a cut. It's just different. So, and that's kind of how, like, the Hulu add-on things and all those other, like, if you buy Showtime or HBO through the one thing, it's like through another loop because it's available outside of just the app. However, I think as far as the ratings go, how does, like, Hulu and Netflix survive? Because they're not going and rating those each thing individually through the App Store like you would with Apple, and they're not available to download individually. You download them through the app.
So the theory that I've been seeing from a lot of people who cover the industry is that Apple already had its feet in movie and TV and music distribution, and they cut special deals with I mean, we've all seen the court docs where they cut special deals with Amazon and Netflix and those. the thought is that because Apple does not have a big cut in the gaming sphere. I mean, sure, they have like indie games and stuff, and they have all these, pay to play games on the phones and whatnot. And they've had deals with Epic in the past. Infinity Blade. Anybody remember that? Infinity Blade, Monument Valley, all those. They are kind of looking ahead and seeing that cloud gaming is going to be the way of the future, or at least a big component of the future. And so Apple wants its stake now. They know they're not going to compete in that gaming sphere. They want to get as big of a slice of the pie as humanly possible. Like, oh, we know you can't say you're pushing this to every device if you don't give us a cut. So we're going to continue to stonewall you. No one really cared with Stadia. They care when it comes to Xbox, though.
Yeah.
This is an existing service that has however many millions of subscribers now, and a good chunk of them are getting pretty pissed off that they can't use it on their Apple products.
It's because it's a value add-on. Like, Xbox gave us something in addition to what we already had.
Yeah.
Where Stadia was like, oh, I can skip over this because I already have a gaming
I'm paying
solution.
for something. I want to be able to use every single facet of my membership.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So
and I think Apple just doesn't like that because it's offering something that they can't compete with. Like with Netflix and Hulu, it's like, oh, well, the original shows, okay, fine, whatever. Like if you sign up through the app, we still get a bonus. Like I sign up for Disney Plus through my Apple account. It charges my iTunes account every month.
Mm-hmm.
They get a
So my question is, what happens when they just make it a web browser version of it, and that you can just open up on your iPhone?
Apple will likely not allow them to. Apple will likely block it within Safari, and will likely tell Google they won't certify any version of Chrome that runs it as well.
Yeah.
In all honesty, like Apple will be that petty to do that. They will hold that as long as possible, being like the second
if you
most
look
valuable
up.
company.
If you look up Google Podcasts on any Apple device through Safari or whatever, that Google Music and Google Play and Google Podcasts do not show up through Safari.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Because like when I was looking for when I was doing all like the links and stuff for our podcast stuff, I went through Safari. This was like a year ago, I think. Mm-hmm. And like making sure all the links and stuff worked. Like I went and searched for us on Google Podcasts, and it took me straight to the iTunes version. Yeah. So, but when I opened it up in Google Chrome, it was the first thing, and I searched for the same exact thing.
All I can say is now like Android phones have come a long way, and they're so much better than they used to be.
It's their time.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that like I've been a Samsung phone owner now for so many years, and like I just honestly I absolutely love, and it's funny every year watching new iPhones come out and tote these things that they make it sound like it's this new technology, and it's like, oh yeah, Samsung's been doing that for years already.
I mean, it's all marketing speak. We see the same thing with consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so I don't know, it's just but I get it, it sucks, like someone having to think of like getting all their contacts and having to manually put everything in, and which I don't even know for sure if that's true, because like if you're in like on Verizon or something, can't you save your contacts through Verizon as well, and then no matter what phone you get, it will automatically load all that stuff into whatever phone you get through your Verizon app?
Yes.
Through the app, yeah.
So I mean, at least there's things like that exist that can like save pictures and all that and bring it over to your phone no matter what kind of phone you get, even if it's not the same one you or similar to what you had. Like I know Apple basically has their own version of that, but I believe Verizon like has the same thing that's free to a certain extent. Like, you have so much amount of storage space, and then after that you got to pay for it. But yeah, like I mean, I guess, but still, like like you said though, like if you're completely, like you've bought Apple TV and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, basically what that would be, it would be the lingering existence of what you used to be continuously updated or whatever. So I mean, from what I understand, you wouldn't lose anything that you already had. You could still watch your movies and all that through that. You just wouldn't be able to watch them on your phone per se. And even that I don't know for sure, because that's the nice thing about Android. There's almost always a way to do something on Android. Like I always compare it to like, Windows versus what's it called? That people use a lot
Linux.
of times Linux, where it's so open source, and like if you want to do something, like you can always find a way to do it without doing anything illegal even, which is is kind of nice, because there's been a lot of times where I've really scoured the internet to find ways to do something that I want to do on my phone, and it takes a little time sometimes, but I find it. But
Yeah. Well, do we have anything else to say about the Series X and S kind of before we move on?
No,
Still excited.
Yes, very.
Very excited. Hype is
Yeah.
at an all-time peak. I'm ready
Yeah.
at midnight on the 22nd to drop my 500 buckaroos with Best Buy.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm probably just gonna go through Best Buy. Like I always, I usually like pre-order games. Like if I get a physical edition, I usually just go through Amazon. But like consoles
Yeah.
are such a different beast, and you never know that. And like, who knows if GameStop's even going to be around? And like, there's all these horror stories of pre-orders getting canceled. Like you guys were talking in the chat.
I'm so afraid of ordering anything for release day through Amazon that is a game at this point. Like I had a friend who had his copy of Ghost of Tsushima delayed for a whole week. Another one who had The Last of Us Part 2 delayed for like 2 weeks, and he's just like, I had to completely get off the internet so it didn't get ruined for me. This is ridiculous. Like, why is it not showing up from Amazon when I was promised release day delivery? And just, I hear more and more horror stories about that. Like, no, I'm good. I wanna physically go pick it up and make sure I have it in hand the day it comes out.
If I can go at midnight, I would like to go at midnight and pick it up and be able to stare at it and plug it in and everything like that. I don't want to wait for
the only reason I want to be able to get it at midnight is because November 10th, the release date, is also Beyond Light Day. I need to get that sucker home and start installing that game.
Yeah.
So that when the patch goes live in the morning, I can install it and then sit in the queue with everyone else trying to get live.
Yeah.
Same.
It's a shared experience for all of us.
I should take the day off work. I shall.
Yeah.
What is the 10th? What is the 10th? Is it a
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday. It's reset day, baby.
That's the day.
Why is it a Tuesday?
It's always a Tuesday, Corey. Where have
No,
you been?
I know. No, I'm saying like the console launch too. Like, I'm gonna
All the
want
media, all the media that goes with it is releasing on that day, which is
At this
because of
point,
Sonic
like,
the Hedgehog.
My conspiracy headphones are coming on.
Uh-oh.
I fully believe that this console was supposed to come out on a Saturday, actually. I think this was supposed to come out on 11/7 for 117 for Halo. And then when it got delayed, they were like, oh, well, screw this. We'll bump it to Tuesday and release it with Destiny
It's now
instead.
a Destiny box.
Yeah.
So now Bungie is coming to save us in the 11th hour again. Also, Game 1 Game Pass Beyond Light.
Yeah. It's coming to Game Pass in what, 2 weeks? Like a week and a half?
This week.
This week? Oh yeah, I guess it is.
It's either the 15th or the 22nd. I believe it's the 15th.
Yeah, I think it's. Is it? Oh well.
I think
If
it's
only-
the 15th.
If
the
only
actual
we had
XCOM.
these magical boxes sitting in front of us to tell us things that we
Probably.
need to know.
But speaking of Game Pass, guys, EA Play coming
Yeah.
to Game Pass.
I know that was the other thing I was going to mention. That's
Oh, okay. Sorry, didn't mean to steal your thunder there, but
no, it's good. Like I can't. I already subscribed to EA Play. Like what are they gonna like grandfather me a couple of extra months because I already paid for this?
I kind of want to know that too because I had a year membership, which I mean, granted, is up in January anyways. But
yeah, mine's up in February, so I mean it's.
This is so massive though because this also kind of explains the mysterious absence of EA at the Sony PlayStation 5 reveal. A lot of people were like, "Oh, well, where are they at? Like, they're nowhere to be seen." Like, them and Ubisoft are both kind of conspicuously absent. And we find out that Microsoft bought all the marketing for like every Ubisoft game under the sun.
Yeah.
And EA Play is coming to Game Pass. Like, that's Madden, FIFA, every Star Wars game, like
Titanfall 2.
Titanfall, the Titanfall franchise, the Battlefield franchise, all now has Xbox branding slapped across it. And they have every BioWare game, like whatever the next Mass Effect is, Dragon Age.
Zuma.
They made some other game called Anthem at some point. I don't think about that.
Plants versus Zombies.
Bejeweled. We got the real killer app. We got Bejeweled and Tetris marketing on Xbox now.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's huge.
Where's
you got
Pego
the
at?
10-hour trials here. You got the Vault. Jesus. Like.
Yeah. Now the like what would even more sweeten the deal is if it was EA Play Pro, where you get the new games day one in there too.
I wonder if there'll be an option for that at some point.
I wonder if it'll be an option to upgrade for not like the full price.
Yeah, like an extra, like if
Like
you
pay like an extra $5 a month.
Yeah, if you pay $20 a month, you get this.
I wonder if you guys will be upgraded into the Pro category when that happens.
That'd be awesome.
I'm curious. So I kind of speculated about this with Corey and Ed earlier this week, but I think that with them saying like, "Oh, it's happening in November," I think that's another way for Microsoft to come out and say, "Look at this! Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is added to the vault on Series X launch day with next-gen enhancements."
There you go.
I mean,
I would play through that game again with next-gen enhancements.
I would absolutely.
I haven't finished it yet, so I definitely would like to play that game with up resolution and all that stuff.
That game was so good, dude. Like,
it's easily the best Star Wars game in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So
not that bar is high, but
math checks out. But yeah.
Okay, so
the last good Star Wars game was Republic Commando. So 15 years.
Backwards compatible, by the way.
I said this.
It was free for a while.
Yeah,
that game's gold, baby. Every Star Wars game has been on there.
So I said this to Ed, and here now my conspiracy are coming on. I was saying, what if this all is like kind of leading to something like what if all of a sudden we get like that KOTOR 3 is coming out and it's gonna be an Xbox Series X exclusive.
Man, that has been Ray and I's conspiracy theory for at least 4 years now.
Yeah,
is that what is the one thing that they could do to compete with Spider-Man? And Knights of the Old Republic is the most obvious thing I can think of.
Yeah, and just with them doing this though, just makes it seem like there's gotta be something bigger going on behind all of this. This is just the little taste of what's to come kind of thing. It seems like it. I don't know.
By the way, Mass Effect Trilogy remaster on Game Pass day one this fall.
Microsoft buys EA.
Yeah,
don't tease me.
Microsoft just backed a gigantic truck of money up to EA and was like, "Hey, in exchange for not buying WB games, why don't you come to Game Pass?"
No, or they could do by the way, the Mass Effect remake is coming out, or remaster or whatever. If you already purchased the games, you get the remaster for free, digitally.
There is so much you can do here. I would pay an absurd amount of money to see the terms of this deal.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how expensive this must be, but I mean, if you don't have a big first-party title this fall,
but the thing is even if only even if $3 a month of Game Pass went to EA, that subscription's only $30 a year anyway.
Oh, it's so worth it. It's not even funny. Microsoft jumped at EA access coming to them. They went to both Microsoft and Sony, and Sony was like, "Well, we don't think it provides a good enough value to our player base." Joke's on you guys.
It's because 80% of the stuff on that service is backwards compatible stuff that would play on PlayStation anyway.
Well, now it is, but when it first launched, it wasn't. You gotta remember, we didn't have backwards compatibility for a year or two into the console.
No, I know, but I mean,
Oh,
what it
now,
is now.
yeah.
You got Dead Space, Mass Effect.
I've gotten
Dragon
so many
Age.
DLC packs for Battlefield through that. Like every time another one comes out, I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go play some more Battlefield. This is great. I love it.
Great deal. That's a
Absolutely. I mean, there's really nothing else to say. Great deal. Like Dave said specifically, they're going to have other offers and special content for Game Pass subscribers now. So I'm really curious to see what that is. Like, probably with Game Pass perks, like give me some Madden Ultimate points or some Star Wars Battlefront credits.
Yeah.
I'm all about that stuff.
yeah.
Well, it's like it was already a great deal, and now it's like
Literally,
you know.
that's what Corey and I were saying. We're like, the best deal in gaming got even better. Even if you don't like EA, everyone likes Star Wars games. You're a dirty liar if you say you don't.
Mm-hmm. And now you don't have to like directly be giving them your money. you can
wait till it hits the vault.
technically. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. The last thing we're gonna kind of talk about here is the Ubisoft Forward event that happened this week. It was interesting. Nothing really. What?
It was an event.
Yeah, it was an event. My favorite, I think. Hold on, let me get here. My favorite announcement was Steep Trials of the Blood Dragon New Dawn, or Riders Republic is what everybody else is calling it.
That I've never seen such a tailor-made game for such a small audience that I am a part of ever be announced until this. And like, I think Logan and I both were losing our minds on Twitter, being like, "Oh my god, this is a game just for us!
Yeah.
This is amazing."
Yeah. We're not going to cover the whole thing. I just want to know what everybody's favorite announcements were, what some were kind of disappointing. No Splinter Cell. Got a lot of Sam Fisher in there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aiden Pierce also made his return.
I've given up any and all hope on Splinter Cell at this point.
Well,
all our hopes now rest on Joanna Dark.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah.
For me, like, obviously, like, Watch Dogs, I don't know. It still looks fun. I still need to see more, like, because I feel like we get, like, little gameplay things here and there and stuff of it, but, like, I still want to see, like, an actual gameplay, like, video of it, like someone playing, the most recent build of it, like playing it and, see what it does to get super excited for it. Like I'm excited for it. Like I like the idea of what we're getting, and like, I'm one of the few who I didn't really mind either of the first ones. I wasn't as down on them as, so a lot of people were, but
I think
it kind of, it did enough for me. It did perfectly fine with me. Like this, it's kind of like the same idea as like what happened with Crackdown 3. Like so many people just gave that game so much shit, but honestly, it was fun. It was fun to play it. Like, yeah, it didn't do anything like spectacular or, like make, like this, best game in the world or whatever, but it was fine. And like, sometimes it's nice to just have games that, you can just play and you don't have to think about a whole lot. It just was a simple, easy game to play and just have fun. And, like, I would say that game was better. Crackdown 3, as bad as it was better than Rage 2. Like, Rage 2 was a hell of a lot more boring, in my opinion. And I bought both of them, but, like, so for me, like, I'm pretty sure I'll probably end up liking it. I loved 1 and 2, so, like, just all these new things that they're kind of doing, and I would imagine that there's a lot more to it than just the new characters stuff as far as mechanics go. But I really like how each character kind of has their traits, and it's it's kind of reminds me of what they tried to do in State of Decay 2, where like each character kind of like, this one was good at shooting and this one was good at like botany, and this one was like they're kind of doing that whole thing with it, and I really think that's cool that you can kind of build your own team, depending on what kind of their abilities are, and like it just seems really really interesting. And then the other one was the didn't it used to be called like Gods and Monsters or whatever?
Yeah,
Immortals Phoenix Rising.
That game looks so fun.
It looks cool, but the name sucks. I know it was probably like a licensing issue because I think there's a movie called Gods and Monsters that's either out or is coming out or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, if you want 4K Breath of the Wild, here you go. That's all I can really say.
It's it's more like it's like a mix between like Breath of the Wild and like almost like Monster Hunter.
It's the Assassin's Creed Odyssey team, so I'm expecting that.
Yeah.
And there's I know they didn't show it. Maybe they showed it in the presentation. I don't know. I just watched the trailer, but there's like a really in-depth character customization option where like you can make your character look insanely ridiculous and play as that character. It's not just the...
Kind of like Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, Monster Hunter World, I think I spent 2 of the 15 hours I put into that game creating my character.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, because it just gives me vibes of Monster Hunter World where there's just like these really, really big creatures that you're trying to take down. Like there's little guys too, and Breath of the Wild has that too, but I feel like, like in this game, there's just going to be a lot more characters that are to scale are way bigger than you.
Yeah.
And stuff. So like, I definitely like that when you can go up against like big creatures and little creatures, and like just kind of mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see the Series X version compared, like how websites do the video comparison. I'm excited to see the Series X version compared to the Switch version because it's coming to everything.
Yeah,
including Stadia, which had the marketing campaign for this game apparently. So.
Yeah, they leaked the gameplay of it.
Phil Harrison showed up there, so I don't have a whole lot of faith in this game.
Yeah.
Everything that man touches just is bad.
When Microsoft has the marketing for every single game in this presentation except for this one.
Yeah. It's a bad sign. Also, the December 3rd release date does not inspire a lot of confidence in me.
The only thing that I can say about that is Far Cry 3 released in December.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just like, I can't believe you're not bumping this to, like, spring. But then I'm like, oh, well... We have Far Cry, supposedly, which that didn't get any gameplay here, so that's probably not coming out.
Yeah.
We saw more of a Writer's Republic than we did of Far Cry 6 here. So
True.
We saw more of that. Which of the February games is coming out?
We saw more of that Far Cry VR game than we did of Far Cry 6. So.
That's true. Oh, man.
Just give me Far Cry 5 up-resed on Series X, and I'll be perfectly fine with that.
Also, the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake did not look great either.
It looks like a late gen or a late stage PS3 game, frankly.
Yeah, and like the one console it looks like it should be on, it's not on, which would be the Switch. I thought for some reason this was like going to be the Switch first game, and this was the trailer for the Switch version, and it's like, nope, it's coming to Xbox One.
I genuinely can't believe this isn't coming to the Switch.
I know. I bet it will later.
They'll get the double dippers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You might as well just play the original on Xbox One backwards compatibility.
Yep, I already own it. It's already there. $10. Just buy it.
Yeah. See when people were talking about it, I hadn't seen the video or anything of it yet. And I was full on thinking that this was a remake of the second one. Like the first one they redid the classic or whatever for Xbox, and I thought it was going to be one of the side-scrolling ones redone.
Oh.
Like, which I actually would rather have, because I love that original side-scrolling ones, and I would love to see like a really, really good version of those on Xbox.
Didn't they do that for 360 for an arcade game?
They did the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the first one though.
I don't know, man. Like they were showing side by side comparisons of this Prince with that the game that came out alongside the movie. That trailer, and it was like that game looked way better than this one. But also like it came out later that this was a trailer from like 6 months ago and there's like a new build of this game. I'm like, well, why did you use a trailer from like 6 months ago? Like, I understand everybody's working from home, but that takes, like, you record some gameplay off of a capture card and send it to your video guy and say, hey, make a trailer. You know, I don't think that a trailer would take 6 months to make. I feel like that, I mean, I've cut trailers before in 2 hours, and I'm not saying that, like, not saying that I'm Ubisoft or anything, but, like, they definitely have the resources to get that done in, like, a week or two.
But also, if you already have a trailer cut and you just replace the footage with newer footage, that's even easier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
just so much about this event, much like the first one, was bad.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted it to end, frankly. And the only two things I actually came away like super stoked for out of this was a re-release, the relisting of Scott Pilgrim.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which, let me tell you, if you've never played this game, my friends, and you like beat 'em ups, you need to play this game.
It's a great game.
It's a great game. It's one of the very best movie comic adaptations ever. It is stupidly fun and stupidly hard.
The whole soundtrack is there too.
Yeah.
And it's like great. The sound in it is great because it's perfect. It's like as long as you can like frame of like how it's just a simple beat 'em up game type of thing. Like it's not like it all has like a retro style to it and everything, but it is perfect in that context.
Yeah. I'm very excited to play this on the Switch.
Whenever I was looking through like the Ubisoft stuff, like it's just like one thing that came to mind was just like unnecessary. Like, did you need to have like an event to say that you're gonna keep making all the games that you've been making? Like I don't know. I get it. Like I don't really have a problem against Ubisoft. It's just like I don't. It's like you're saving all this for a dump just to have something like to say, and just like I don't know.
What out of this presentation could not have been shown at the main Ubisoft Forward back in July? That's what I want to know. We got the same Watch Dogs Legion trailer for a third time this summer.
Yeah.
I'd like to note that we saw that exact trailer minus the music video, which was also very bizarre, at the pre-show for the Xbox event and at the Ubisoft Forward. I'm so tired of seeing this same trailer now.
Yeah.
Like, I just, any desire I had to touch this has just gone out the window now. I'm like, God, just release this, please. Speaking of
soundtracks, like what was that music in the Immortals trailer, by the way, to circle back to that real quick? What was that music in this game about, you know, ancient mythology, and you're like, what was the music during that? I
just don't know.
I was like, this like by itself I'm sure the song is fine, and by itself I'm sure the gameplay footage that they showed for Immortals was fine, but like they don't I don't know.
But can we please focus on the fact that every single game shown had bizarre music choice, and they actually did a music video inside of Watch Dogs. Inside Watch Dogs, we did a music video, and it wasn't a good one either. It was real bad. It was real bad.
If you would have asked me, if you would have brought up Watch Dogs Legion, and I'm not saying it's a bad game or anything, I was excited at one point, but if you would have asked me, like, are you going to get this? But, like, isn't the game out already? I honestly thought the game came out, like, 3 or 4 times by now.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I keep getting, like, trailers for it and be like, yeah, I get the gist. I don't need any more until you have something new to say.
Yeah.
I
that's where
to
I'm
me,
at.
Putting that part into the presentation and, like, not showing anything new for this game, and then coming out and having the audacity to claim that you couldn't put Yves' statement on all the misconduct that's been going on, which already was cut from the July showcase, to tell me you couldn't edit that 4-minute non-apology and honestly baloney statement into the beginning of your presentation, even on the VOD version, is just that's levels of cowardice I didn't think I would actually see from a company this year.
Well, you know that footage is actually stored with the current Prince of Persia assets.
Oh my god, I hate you so much.
This presentation was actually a build from 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So the new presentation was all
It felt like outtakes from the July show. I don't know why any of this.
It was.
You could have made that 15 minutes longer, just slapped Immortals onto the end and Riders Republic, and you would have had the exact same show.
Yeah.
This is bad. Like, they didn't even notify the creator of Scott Pilgrim that they were going to re-release the game. He's like, me and the original dev team have nothing to do with this. We didn't know this was happening. Ubisoft never told us they were going to do this. They just decided to do it. We were just as surprised as the rest of you. Like, oh my god, this is pathetic. Also, this is how you sell DLC for a game that never sold in the first place, i.e. Steep.
Yeah.
You take the DLC, you make it into a brand new game, and say, here you go.
They released DLC for that game. They released 2 DLCs for that game.
You could have fooled me.
They released
This
like
looks like this is the Miles Morales of the Steep franchise.
No, I told you it's Steep, Trials of the Blood Dragon, New Dawn.
This is. I'm not gonna lie. When I first started seeing the bikes, I was like, "Oh, hey, this is Trials," and then like, "Oh, hey, this isn't Trials." I'm immediately less interested.
If it wasn't,
they pulled a snowboard on me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm back in."
By the way, if it wasn't so important for me to like have the title be about the first portion of this show about being the Xbox, the title of this episode would totally be Steep, Trials of the Blood Dragon, New Dawn.
2.
Rising.
Electric Boogaloo.
Risen.
Right.
Electric Boogaloo.
Odyssey.
Beyond Light.
Game of the Year edition.
Infinite.
Yeah.
Infinite.
Remastered.
Ultimate Edition.
I mean, that's basically what some of these Ubisoft editions look like by the time you get through all the subtitles and the edition names.
By the way, to watch this on your Xbox Series X, you're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to buy it for an extra $40, even if you own the game already.
I heard the PlayStation
Thanks,
version of the
505.
conference got an extra trailer.
Yeah, this show's actually published by 505 Games.
One thing I will say about Ubisoft, though, as much as I am enjoying ragging on them, I really did like them coming out and saying that Siege is going to run at 120 frames per second. That game has one of the best, I think, just one of the best communities online right now. And it's definitely a game that has endured and gets so many updates. Like, people who are hardcore into that love it so much.
I used to only play that game, and that was it for the longest time.
I don't have the temperament to play it, so...
I mean, I think,
also just Rainbow Six campaign again, so...
I think it's nice that like all of Ubisoft's games are going to be like, you're going to get those next gen upgrades for free, which is nice, except for Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
I wonder if you have to buy the ending of that game.
Yeah, Prince of Persia's coming to Xbox One and PS4, and people are like, how the hell are we going to play it on, how are we going to play it on next-gen consoles? And it's like, well, it is forwards compatible, but it's pretty bad that they're not announcing an up-res version.
It's like they said, all of our games will get an up-resolution version, but at one cost.
I'm waiting to do the Prince of Persia up-res, and they replace the Prince with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Man.
That's all I
They've come a long way since that Watch Dogs trailer and charging for the ending as DLC to Prince of Persia 2007 was that? Yeah. So all right. Well, we're gonna kind of wrap it up here. There's a couple things that we could have touched on, but just ran out of time. So we playing anything before we get out of here?
Just Fortnite. I unlocked all the Marvel characters, and now I'm just going to get those foils, like the rare skin things for them or whatever, where it's basically every character that I unlocked, including when I unlocked Wolverine, but he'll be just all metal, just like he's all silver.
Cool. I really liked the Marvel skins. I wasn't going to play enough Fortnite to get them, so I was just like, meh.
Yeah.
Like the Deadpool skin, I wanted that skin. I wanted the Batman skins. I wanted the Captain America skin. I'm like, well, the ones I can buy, I'm not paying $25 for. And B, the ones you can unlock through the battle pass. I'm not paying for the battle pass because I won't play that long. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I like the storm skin too. The storm skin was awesome.
The punk one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's
her
so
best
cool.
look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, you playing anything?
So I have been a little stressed past couple weeks, so I have actually played a game that I just wanted to like be by myself for a little bit, oddly enough, and it's like an online game, but I've started playing Fallout 76 again just to go into a world and like build some stuff.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it, but also like I probably stop playing that game. If I play that game for an hour, I've actually quit playing during that hour probably like 3 times. Like, I will lose something and then just be like, okay, I'm done. Then I come back to it like 10 minutes later. But at least it's like keeps the pressure off. I get too sweaty when I play like multiplayer games and stuff like that. Just wanted to go and drink some radiated water for a little bit. It's all right. Hopefully this week I'll get back into like other games. But that's the only thing I picked up.
Cool. Josh?
Oh man, I'm on my I've eliminated one game out of the trifecta that I talked about last week. I finished Tell Me Why this morning. Really loved it. Encourage anybody who likes just a slower paced game with a really good story and a good sense of world building to go play it. Probably the thing that would sum it up in one sentence is the highs are extremely high, but the lows are really freaking low. There are parts in that game, specifically in episode 2, that I'm just like, what? Why? This makes no sense, but okay. Wasteland 3, of course, still playing some more of that, but I've played more Avengers than anything this week. I'm very close to a point where I'm about ready to just throw Avengers out the window, though, with all the technical problems. It is literally... I downloaded 4 patches last week, and the game is still literally unplayable for me at times. I still cannot play the final campaign mission, because it's completely bugged for me. And just, like, I don't mind, like, popping textures and stuff, but, like, the game is just... like, I'll have the game go, like, completely... black screen, but I'm still playing. Like, the image will literally be flickering on and off of my screen.
Yeah, that happened to me. Happened to me.
Yeah.
What, 2 nights ago? I think I loaded in. And I had to restart the game 3 times, and then like the first time the screen just went black, and like I could still hear like the menu stuff and like you know, voices or whatever. Screen just went black. Restarted it. The main theme music was skipping at the menu screen, and like I was like, okay, maybe if I load in, it just kept skipping, and I couldn't. There was no dialogue for the story mission. There was no dialogue for anything. So I restarted again, and then I got this weird bug where like Hulk and Kamala, like there's like this weird black line around their hairlines, and I thought like my HDR
I got that with Black Widow multiple times.
I thought my like HDR settings were off, and like I went through I probably spent like 15 minutes on my TV, like, are my HDR settings off? So I went through my TV, I went through the game's menu, I went through my Xbox's menu. No, it was fine. It was just like a bug.
The only other thing that I do kind of want to note that I've had with an issue on that game is we were playing a multiplayer mission the other night, and when we were in it, I went down, I got revived, but I had my abilities didn't show up on the screen. My HUD was basically gone. I'm running around. It's still saying that I'm down. I'm clearly running around killing enemies. And we get to the end of this mission, and it's a long, hard mission, multiple floors you have to get through in a hive. And I got no XP gains. I got no progress. It didn't count towards my achievements. It didn't count towards in-game quests, in-game bounties, nothing. I had to turn it off after that. Like I said, I'm losing any and all desire to play this game right now because I'm sympathetic for a game that's a game as a service launching a little bit broken. I've been through enough Destiny launches to know how this works. I played The Division and The Division 2, and I understand how this works. And I did not play Anthem.
We did.
Returned to Anthem still in the cellophane. I got an urgent call from Ray Apollo saying, do not open this game, take it straight back. It like force quit his PS4 multiple times.
Yeah.
So this is by far, to me, this is the roughest launch of any games as a service title, with the exception of like Anthem and Fallout 76. Like, it is barely stepping outside of that, and that's because the story is just so damn good.
Yeah, that's like the only
and-
reason why I'm playing it. I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to finish the story.
When the game decides it wants to work, it's incredible. Like I had very few issues playing the campaign up until the end, and I was like, all right, this is annoying. I really want to see the end of the story. I want to, I want to pop my achievements. I want to go do the iconic missions. I'll play some multiplayer. I've never run into so many problems with a multiplayer game in my life, though, and I kind of understand why outlets were like giving it 6 or 6.5. They were like, it's a great story. It's great. It's good gameplay. The loot system sucks, though. I really don't enjoy the loot. And man, it's the amount of technical glitches. This game should not have come out in its current form. It should have been delayed again, honestly, to like November.
My thing with the loot is like, I'm just every time it says you got more powerful loot, I just go in there and I hold L2 or left trigger and it loads it up. I'm like, okay, my loot's ready to go.
The loot means nothing until you get close to the power cap, which really pisses me off. Like, to an extent, that happens in Destiny as well, but Destiny, you can at least infuse your stuff. This, you can only infuse for up to 10 levels past what you get it from. And that is just such a dumb thing to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm losing any and all desire to play it. I think I'm close to the point where I'm going to put it down until some of the DLC characters are in it next month, and like the Hawkeye quest line and the Black Panther stuff coming in November, and hope that the Series X thing brings stability, because this thing's crashing on high-end PCs too. This game is just not finished, frankly.
It's to the point where like I want to finish the story, but I might just put it down until the Series X comes out so I can play it at a... Because like there's literally no difference between performance and 4K mode except that it runs at a lower frame rate.
If you told me, and I did not know the history behind this studio, and you came to me, and this was my first game that I was playing from this studio, and you said, "Oh yeah, I can't believe there's that many issues. This is the same studio that made Rise of the Tomb Raider and the Tomb Raider reboot," I would call you a liar.
Yeah,
because this is so night and day different. Like, those games launch little to no bugs. Outside of like some of your usual technical issues you'll have at launch for a big AAA title, this thing needed a few more like weeks or months or something of QA. I don't understand how anybody played this and was like, yeah, this is ready to release.
This should have come out in this would have been a perfect complement to the console launches, I feel like.
That's what I think. Like, I really think the fact that we were hearing about the technical improvements to this game for next gen 2 months before it even came out really did not bode well for me when I was hearing it, and I was not going to pick this game up. Very generously, a friend gifted it to me. I'm appreciative for it. I genuinely, when it's working, I'm having fun playing with my friends.
I want to tell you, like, people were like really sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. They were talking about Iron Man, and like Iron Man's kind of like Iron Man's like the worst player to play as. I'm playing through the Iron Man segment of the story right now. I'm having a blast. It feels like Anthem, and like flying around.
It was awful in the demo and the beta, just because you were so on rails in that. Yeah. That's what a lot of people were judging it off of. Like, I dreaded playing as Iron Man after that, and I mean, I still like him. He's not my favorite, but when this game clicks, it's like the next gen Ultimate Alliance I always wanted. But man, when it's not working, it's just a miserable, crappy experience. Like, it's not even like Destiny where I can go ha at some of the glitches and like go on and do something else. It's like, no, like, this game actually sucks when it's not working.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's my rant. I'm Avengers. Guys, do not buy Avengers. Wait for it to go to half price right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be $30 on Black Friday. And you'll have the next gen consoles to play it on. Like, that's probably the perfect time to buy it, honestly. Like you, this game was gifted to me, and I was like, well, I do want to play it. And I was kind of on like a superhero high because we had just seen Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad, and I actually went and purchased the Arkham collection for it was on sale, I think, that week anyway, for like all of it was on sale for like $15, I think.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting that, and then I was like, oh man, I kind of want to play Avengers too, but I'm not gonna pay for that money, so I'll just play Batman. And then I was gifted the Avengers, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to play the Avengers now. And like, what I've played of it is awesome. Like, I knew next to nothing about Kamala Khan, right? Like, I'm not an avid comic book reader. The only comics I read when I was little were like X-Men and Ninja Turtles, right? Like, that's seriously the only comics I ever read.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a certain age where I just kind of stopped reading comics, right? Like I just didn't keep up that hobby because I had too many at the time anyway. So I knew next to nothing about Kamala Khan, and like just playing this game makes me like Miss Marvel, the Disney Plus series, is now my most anticipated Disney Plus series. Like she's such an endearing, such a like just like a really fun character to watch in this game, and that's what's keeping me going.
Yeah, she's the feel-good hero that we needed this year.
Oh yeah,
in such a bleak year for so many different reasons, she is emblematic of the hope that we need right now.
Yeah,
and like it's absolutely beautiful.
And like that's like the secret thing about this game is like the campaign is not an Avengers game. It's definitely a Kamala Khan game with Avengers moments in it, and it's like this was the game like it's not like you said this game has so many problems, but it's probably my favorite game I've played this year on the story alone.
Yeah. Story wise, and like that's my conundrum. Like the game is so utterly broken that I can't give it anything higher than like a 6 or a 7 at the absolute most. Like I'm enjoying so much about it, but it's so utterly broken. I can't play for more than 20 minutes without the game breaking on me, and that's such a shame. Not even Fallout did this to me.
Yeah.
Like 76 wasn't this broken when I played at launch week.
Yeah.
It was bad, but it wasn't this broken. It was bad for other reasons.
Yeah. Oh, the other day I had to restart a mission too. Speaking of broken, sorry, I didn't mean to like really steer the conversation to the left here, but I had to restart a mission, like not even just to the last checkpoint, but the whole mission because two of the enemies got stuck in the geometry of the level, and I couldn't hit them or break them or anything.
That's happened to me so many times.
Oh.
I turn it off. I walk away at that point.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna go back to a less frustrating experience. I'm gonna go back to Wasteland, which is significantly harder and probably more infuriating for my blood pressure, but I'm actually having a good time with.
Yeah. So
play Wasteland 3 instead. There you go.
Yeah, I want to play. I think I'm gonna play a little bit tonight, but if it breaks on me tonight, I'm just gonna wait till the Series X comes out and play it then. So. But is that all you've been playing, Josh?
Yes, that is all I've been playing.
Cool. I've been playing Avengers. We already talked about it. Destiny. Probably talk a lot about it on Tower Casuals next week, but did get Traveler's Chosen last night. Mitch and I did the whole quest from like we started at 9:30. I think we ended at 1:30.
It's a great quest.
Yeah, it was fun. I wish it wasn't 1:30 in the morning when I finished it, but so I did that, and then I've been playing a lot of Tony Hawk actually. So that is Activision is secretly doing the best job at these remakes and remasters. Like, I mean, I know the Final Fantasy VII has gotten great reviews, right? But I'm waiting for the Xbox version next year. What was the other big remake? Oh, the Resident Evil games are, but Tony Hawk is like, it's the best remake I think I've played this far. What they did with what they started with Crash and Spyro and now into Tony Hawk, like, I can't stop playing Tony Hawk. I really can't. And it makes me mad that it's not on Switch because this would totally be a game I would be literally playing all day, every day if it was on the Switch. But playing it on the Xbox, it's like, man, I remember all of this. And adding the Tony Hawk 3 and 4 moves in there too, added a whole bunch of new interesting things that you can do in levels that it almost breaks the levels at some point. And like I'm like, if they put out DLC for 3 and 4, I'm day one purchase for those things for sure.
Yeah, it's like Trials for me. Like I remember when Trials HD came out for Xbox. Yeah. Like that was the first game I think that I had ever picked up that was like wasn't a shooter that like that was like a multiplayer game that like consumed a lot of my free time. Yeah. But like when Trials came out, that game was like brought back a lot of memories to all the time that I used to put into the Tony Hawk games. And now like and these remakes, like you said, like for me, like Resident Evil 2 is the original was like my favorite game of all time. and then the remake was just like, okay, they like, I was so worried, but they managed to take my favorite game and make it even better, you know, and it's the same with these Tony Hawk games. Like, they've made the first and second one like 100 times better than what they originally were, and yeah, they did such a good job with it. Like, I definitely would agree that it's like right up there with some of the greatest remakes of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of all I've been playing. So, but we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching Arsenal X live on Twitch. You can follow us on Twitch at Boss Rush Games Live. You can also check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/bossrushgames and on our website at bossrushgames.com. This show goes live on podcast feeds every Tuesday, so you can check us out there. Joe, where can we find you?
Colonel Panic everywhere. Check the show notes.
Yes, links are in the show notes, everybody. Josh, where can we find you?
You can find me every Thursday night on the Tower Casuals right here. And you can find me on Twitter at @Josh_Finn. That's Finn with 2 N's, as always. And come follow me for piping hot Xbox and sandwich takes.
Earl Sandwich still didn't follow you.
I hate you so much.
Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS.
You can find me at Corey. I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me on Nintendo Power Block and Tower Casuals, and a plethora of content here on Boss Rush Games. Very excited for some interesting video content coming up. Stay tuned for that. Very, very excited for that. So remember to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you consume this show. We really appreciate it. You can check out all of our content on bossrushgames.com. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Jesse. This is Arsenal X, where we throw up the X. Because we are exiting
Thank you
the show.
so much.
Goodbye, everybody.